Happy Easter Monday for those in the UK and anywhere else. I don't know who quite makes it a public holiday. What a better thing to do, though, than to head around what I like to call the tricky triangle of Europe. Let's perhaps do something a little scary. This was a little chaotic last season, just a little bit around this track. Only 20 minutes. We're going to do a billion laps. There's very little at Knockhill, but every single corner wants to kill you. I can't do a single one of these in anything that is any faster than a TCR. It's all blind, it's all uphill, downhill, it's wild and crazy, and I don't think drivers are going to be getting a reprieve from last week, although it will be a very different kind of race, I think. Single split at 2.7k. Gonna give us an interesting field. Hasn't been the most popular week as ever, but I love seeing this track come back, even when there aren't enough people to make it work, because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful track. Who else needs anything better than this? I'm going to send us to the tri-oval of it. With enough time and with enough collective votes, I think we can do this together. We have our track voting back now for the coming season. And so why not just let us race on the horrible little tri-oval iRacing? iRacing don't let us do fun things. They wouldn't let PCC go to track, didn't support rolling starts. They might not let us have the tri-oval either. We like to believe. Drivers running their qualifying laps right now, and they are very, very, very fast qualifying laps. They run by in an instant, so I'm going to have to struggle to keep on top of all of this. Laps can be at less than a minute long. 20 minutes, more than 20 laps. Drivers, just all sorts of different skill levels, but iRacing update broke my ability to see the iRatings in this lobby. So, you know, that happens to all of us sometimes. No one's set a valid lap yet, but Edward Buchanan, who has been a story driver here before, hasn't shown up for a while, is going to set the first one. He's not even going to, because Nato Brown has him jump to the line. What is he going to set, though, on his first go around the track? I'm not sure it was legal. We'll sit on board. Laps coming in so fast. Daniel Tuff's currently the fastest. Here it comes. Here's our start-finish line. And it's fastest so far. Daniel Tuff's slots into P2. Every driver's going to be done before qualifying laps are even up on this circuit today. So it's hard to even get the overlays placed in time, and hard to get them properly set up and properly lined up. Let's see if we can do a predicted lap. Sometimes these go wrong. Sometimes these go wrong. We're on board right now for what could be a very, very fast lap. 51.7's the bar. This is looking like a 51.6 could be. Could be a 51.6. Take a bit to cross over the line. That's fastest so far. Edward Buchanan not going to meet that bar. He's in the sevens. Daniel Tuff's on pole. Only a few more drivers running around the track. Lewis Benny struggling in the grass. Don't we all? Nick DeWarnick, a couple who aren't setting qualifying laps through David Whitehouse, Richard Spencer, and Cody Petter. And he's going to give another shot to it. Only Istad, Bellotti, and Aronson still running, and I don't know how many are racking up extra bonus laps. I know Istad is just racking up extra bonus laps. Perhaps he just does it for the ad read, because he runs by with that logo perfectly set up for me to go. So, you know, what's it going to be? Thank you very much to FILMBIL.NO, as ever, for sponsoring the broadcast and this season's show. I'll coordinate everything for you in Norway. Use any vehicles you need for any film and TV production. Check out the URL in the corner if you live in the area. If you have a car of your own, actually, just get it in there. They've got it all. Only a few drivers left to go. Apparently, Whitehouse is loading in, and he might actually get to do his 2 qualifying laps on time. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have to stare at them the whole way. That is just running down the clock with laps here that aren't counting. That was his 4th across the line. He'll be qualifying P8. Is Nick Aronson doing similar? He lines up on P3. How do I boost these engines? Can't really boost them, can you? Don't think his laps are counting any further. Also get to see some from Bellotti. Hearing some hype for backwards Knockhill. I've never driven it. I remember driving this track in the TCR series and really enjoying it. And then I dropped into it in the FF1600, and I'm afraid it's pretty hard. All right, David. All right, David. You have been offered as ritual sacrifice for the sacrifice. We've seen Lewis Hamilton helmet and the Dunkersaw car. You might not get both laps done in time, but you are now the one who the world is going to watch. So many corners you have to jump over and cut around here. 50-second lap times. Really get that slip out up the hill. No, this one is just the out lap, so we probably will get only one timed lap. Pressure's going to get to his head. I know he can hear me. Shall we leave him after at it? He was Peter at Red Bull Ring, and who are we to argue? 50 plus 50? I think there's time for 2. Let's take a look at how this runs out. Lots of fast chicanes. You have to sort of fly over the anti-cut. It's quite permissive on the off-track. It is half the car on some of this. How brave do you have to be to fly up that hill? First lap's P10. Shall we play predicted lap games again? I think this, I don't know how they do it on this software. I feel like they're just guessing it. I'm not sure if that will count. Little bit of a gravel touch. Only he knows, though, and he's still running it to the end. Gonna need an improvement. I don't think it's going to happen. 52.4 was the first lap. We're looking at a 52. Oh, we could jump up 1 or 2. It's a good run down the straight. Not quite good enough. Three more drivers not setting a lap. That sets our grid. Will it be chaos or will it be beauty? Only one way to find out as drivers grid in for the race. Love to see it. Daniel Tufts on pole and Edward Buchanan sits in second. Buchanan. It's got to be Buchanan. I'm just saying it weirdly. Nick Aronson sits in third with Graham Rory Hunt in fourth. Christopher Cash in fifth with Andrea Bellotti in sixth. Nixon Nato Brown and Istad side by side. Owen Paul, success to David Whitehouse. Didn't improve on that second lap. Ellie Douglas and Nick Dwarnick almost at the back here. Kurt Raymer and Richard Spencer. Cody Petzer, that is one of the cars of all time. Success to Lewis Benny at the back, not setting valid times. They're going to fill the grid very, very fast, and I'm going to be left with my pants down. Set 16 drivers are going to hit the grid, and it's going to be 24 laps. I'm going to be flying around this track way too many times, and last time there were incidents. Let's see how long we keep it going here. 20 minutes of Knockhill. It's a long hold. And we are green. Good launches from the grid. And Daniel Tufts is far ahead down the road. Nick Aronson not getting the run he wants on the outside line. He's going to get passed by Aronson on the inside. Buchanan just missing the start there by a little. But it's a huge run away from Daniel Tufts. The field is able to flow single file. A bit of gravel there, kicked up by Rory Hunt on the outside. And another running wide. Looks like Richard Spencer. That's Cody Petter at the back. But a huge run from Cash. Huge run from Tufts, and he is going to want to make a dash for it. But we're running single file quite cleanly around in our first lap. This is going to be a race of attrition, bravery, and who is not going to make the right number of mistakes as you cross all the way into pit exit. Start your lap. Edward Buchanan's going to want that P2 back, and he's staring on the rear of Aronson to make it happen. Big gap between the third and the fourth. Two big duels leading up to here. Only one real chance to make a slipstream pass as well. Gravel already on the circuit. Every single car using just some of it on the outside. A little bit more from some of the drivers going half over. But be careful about off tracks around this place. You throw in a contact or two and it might all go hairy. But the gap is almost a second from Daniel Tufts already. Time is going to fly. Fastest lap so far, it is Tufts. He got pole and he's locked in with high speed. These cars are only going to get faster as the race goes on though. And this top four has compressed. Cash at the back of the line. Bellotti due to catch up. Drivers really on that corner particularly. I think they might start eating some off-track issues if they overexert it. That's a good passing move by Buchanan. He's going to pass Aronson on the inside. Getting up on the inside of that turn is one quick way to force it. We saw it last season, and Cash also has a run. It was a bad exit from Rory Hunt. And he's going to have the better line going into turn one. Cash is first, and as the two car, he's got a little bit to make up to earn that place. But we're still running back to P6, and there's a huge gap behind Tornado Brown. Here's Bellotti back off the line. Greatest overtaking spot around here is up that hill. You can get a good outbreak on the inside. You can force someone wide, and that set up your chance. Other than that, pretty much the start and end of this track. You get so many chances at it in 20 minutes that you shouldn't have a problem. Tufts fastest again. 51.7, a second and a half down the line. I see that Cash sort of looking to get his nose out just a little. He had a better exit. Looked a bit compromised there from Aronson. That's going to be P3. Donated up. He's dropping back like a rock right now. And I think Bellotti is willing to make it side by side as well to force out Rory Hunt. He takes the inside line. He's not going to clear two. And this wide line is good down the start-finish line, so it's not a done deal. Tufts fastest again. Bellotti sneaks out in front of Rory Hunt just in time for pit exit. There have been crashes, by the way. I'm just choosing to keep them from you. Get the lovely drones out. Love it when Whiplash are here to bring us the drone cams on the track. Think instant there, flying them around themselves. Whole top 10. He's just second back from each other now as David Whitehouse has sort of thrown his way into this line. Owen Paul's got a gap to make up. But behind him, everyone's fallen back by miles. You can see how much gravel is on that track. Everybody using every inch of it. And Cash is now fastest as Istad's able to pull a nice draft. And that's a spin forced out from Rory Hunt. Whitehouse has to take some avoiding action, but it's good to see that everyone's just about made it through. That was self-inflicted, I'm afraid to say. Throwing it too fast into turn one, it was going to cost him eventually. That's opened up a real gap here now. Brown now has a second from Istad, who's a second on Bellotti, who's taking Aronson again. That is some unreal gravel on the track. Side by side, down the start finish. You get some real momentum if you spin it in from the outside. And let's not ignore Cash's laps here. They are fast. He needs to work his way around Edward Buchanan. I'm going to keep alternating the way I say it. Lose my mind over here. Lose my mind indeed. Istad's ready to make the move on Aronson now. He's been doing nothing but drop back since the start. And that's another one given up. Now running wide, a hard block on Aronson, and that might have opened up the chance again. I think Aronson has a little bit more exit speed here. Buchanan. Of course it's Buchanan. Am I stupid? That was obvious. Name pronunciation is something I get wrong on every channel, period. And that one should have been so ridiculously obvious that shouldn't have even needed it. But I did. On board with Nick Aronson here. Can I just catch the moment? Was it around here? The bold move here by Istad. Covers off the inside. It's well played and didn't lose him his place. I wouldn't have risked that myself. Whitehouse has just been caught up in a tangle with Brown. I think Brown may have been the one that started that. And there's a bit of a traffic jam emerging now. Driver's still stopping. Buchanan. Of course it's Buchanan. Oh, it was Whitehouse that started the first spin up ahead, actually. He gets away from the scene of the crime. They know Brown's the one that's just stuck playing Austin Powers for a little bit of time. These lap times evened out a bit, and let's say it this time, Buchanan. Oh dear. Buchanan hasn't made in a gap at all. It was a second and a half where I looked away a few minutes ago, and it's still a second and a half now. I think it's more a consequence of Daniel Tufts now running more normal laps. Cash is still the fastest by a whole 10th. But now the last lap times are even. Don't say it's still cleaner than the Red Bull Ring Massacre. You don't know yet. Yes, the Red Bull Ring Massacre was something that will go down with historians for a long time. Something that Adam Miles, our wondrous new community manager, who I'm looking forward to producing an exciting and fun to drive schedule, has blessed us with again. So make sure to thank him when we return to the Red Bull Ring next season with more liberties taken. He has his reasons, okay? He has his reasons indeed. I believe voting is still open on the iRacing forums. Be a part of it and let's make something awesome for next season. You might correct me for that, but if it's still open today, then I know time is running very, very slow. My racing have given very little notice. But I appreciate them and Motorsport UK for stepping up to the plate with it. And it's certainly back in good hands. Race has settled down a fair bit. There were a couple incidents I wanted to catch, but I couldn't really. Open until Sunday. Excellent. It is your last week. Ellie Douglas was running around the back and unfortunately had a bit of a self-crash. And unfortunately, and I think there's just been another at the back. Yeah, that's a self-incident in turn 1. Sorry to do it to you. Now, this one's going to hurt because you might have seen the warning. Cody Petter picked up a meatball flag. I've been trying to avoid looking at this car for as long as possible. But this was the repairs required, and I don't think anyone else was caught. Whoa, where did that twitch come from? That's unusual. Sort of mistake I make. But this elevation change can unsettle any car. Oh, no, now you can see how it happened. A tiny bit too much of the curbs to get max lap time, and you're done. As the fast repair available, but most others aren't wrecking right now. Istad is in place to make the move on Belotti again. But really, it's about seizing your opportunity. Still more than 10 laps to go for this field. Stay tuned, because next week I'm looking forward to Zandvoort. I'm looking forward to it. I might hit the track for that one, especially because we did put a chicane on it. Stay tuned, same time, same place. It's the sort of track that may just make these cars come alive. One of the larger circuits on the schedule, of course. And we'll see some championship points soon. I need to collate all the results. It's difficult when there's a time zone shift. I think Istad's ready to do it. He gets out of line. He certainly has the speed. A much better exit out that last corner than Belotti, and that's going to be elementary. Now, 3.5 seconds to make up. And time is running out. And Tufts has been getting reeled in. Just a little. It was a 1.5 seconds, and I think he's been making a few errors. And now it has been turned into 1 second. Edward is fast, and he's just been waiting for the time to put the hammer down. The last lap times of both drivers behind has been faster for several laps at a time by just a bit. They've been eating away at that advantage, and I think Cash knows that now's the time to just play the game sensibly and wait, because we're going to have a duel for the win on the cards. Every time I hear that engine peak, I get a little bit scared myself. It's not a huge margin. That's the top 2 cars' lap gaps between them. Really not a very big one, but it's tiny, tiny things that could eat into this. Time will tell, and if the pace doesn't get picked up and this next lap isn't faster, maybe Cash does have to go for it and does have to take that P2. I still have to look at the scary car because it's lap traffic. Cash is fastest of the whole race so far, a 51.20240. But being a little faster doesn't get you ahead. Around here as the cars fly airborne, you can just see the gravel all over the racing surface. Further behind, it's Aronson and Belotti and Istad and lap traffic. He'll get out of the way. Aronson has lost a little bit of touch from that. But not quite enough. This field is earning its repentance. And Edwards' gap halved in a lap. Do not adjust your set. 4/10 was just taken out of Tufts. Must have been a small driving error on his part. And that's completely opened up this duel for first now. Behind, I want to watch Belotti and Istad. I think Istad just made the pass just happen. No, he was already there. Needed to check my event log one more time. These three are playing draft train games with each other as well down this fast back straight. Not finished straight even. The back one is on the back. That's where they put it. They're within 2/10, and that could erupt at any second. And it's going to erupt the second I look away. A little bit of gravel on the outside still. You can see just how much is offline down that hill. David Whitehouse has remarkably recovered from his incident-filled spin. Didn't take lethal damage, and he's chasing down Richard Spencer for 8th. Buchanan, I'm losing touch. He's coming in close now, though, with another fastest lap. So fast that Cash has now lost the field. And this is becoming a 2-horse race that Tufts seemed to dominate from the start, but we might just be seeing the last moments of. This has been a real hot lapping competition around here for these two. Not too many moves, but Tufts had the amazing launch and the car has just sort of fallen off him, whereas Edward Buchanan is flying lap by lap. 4/10, 1/10, 2/10. Could we get a fastest lap again? Not fastest, but it's faster. And faster is enough right now to make this work. Nick Aronson also on the rear of Belotti. Not secured this lap. Imagine a drone that could spin around that fast. Whitehouse looks like the pass is done on Spencer, who is very wide, fails to carry a lot of speed. Edwards 2/10, 3/10, ready to make an attack anytime soon. 10ths, looking at 3 to go across the line, and any one of them could be when it kicks off for good. Lap traffic making this easy for now. There was another incident. We're going to catch a couple of them at the end of the race. I'm hearing some anger at lap traffic with that regard. Some of the cars at the back, and we've got a duel for a win in front of us right now. Cannon, I don't think there's a line on the inside. It's been covered off well by Tufts in any instance. He knows how you pass and defend around here. But how was that exit? Tufts defends the inside. He comes back onto line. And we stay as we are for one more. There'll be 2 more laps around the track. Richard Spencer's battling Whitehouse back. Not quite making it work. Into his final corner. Will there be a draft for their shenanigans down turn 1? I don't think the speed is there. Will be nice to catch the speeds down the start-finish, as these will determine everything. I'm expecting to see the white flag. We missed it the last time around. And now it's the duel of fates. Daniel Tufts with an amazing start. He's dropped off on pace, but if he can defend for one more lap, just 50 more seconds, he'll have had a clean sweep of the day. Edward Buchanan is going to do everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen. But there's very few chances left. Could we see a draft train to the line? There's one corner where he'll make this happen if he does it now. But Tufts has the inside covered. It's about who got the better exit, and I think that covering the inside could be enough. Buchanan doesn't look like he has the speed. And that makes it Daniel Tufts to cross the line in first. Not the full clean sweep day. Didn't get the fastest lap, but he did everything he needed to in his pocket, and that was having the launch of the century. And that's all she wrote, but it wasn't made easy. Let me get a quick look at these this race start, because it was really won on the start finish here. It was a uniquely bad launch from Edward. Aronson didn't really have the long-term pace to finish out front in this race, but keeping Edward behind him from the start was a sign in itself. And that was the story of the race, really. But it did make itself look like a duel. Very clean up front, few incidents further back with stragglers, but no real race definers today, so I'm impressed. We've all earned our keep here today. And Neil Tufts comes home with a dominating victory, and what a good one. Edward Buchanan, maybe I looked away and got that wrong, finishes second, with Christopher Cash not meeting the pack behind for third. Alexander Istad is able to hold on to fourth from a chasing Andrea Bellotti in fifth. Nick Aronson beat the Erwin Paul. David Whitehouse loses out to him in the duel the way that we called her out across the race. Graham Gory Hunt finishes ninth with Richard Spencer in 10th. Further down positions, Nick Dwarwick, Naylor Brown, Eddie Douglas, Kurt Raymer, Cody Petter, and Lewis Benny finished 5 laps down after serious damage. We have any eyes on any interviews? I wasn't in a channel for it. So I'll keep an eye out for any interviews that are available. If we don't get them, we don't get them. And I'll be able to review a few more things that happened in this race that maybe didn't quite make the cameras. Unfortunately, some of this is humiliating. A spin from Kurt Raymer. It happens. That recovery dangerous? I think we get away with it. Kurt Raymer had a few with these, actually. It's a hard track to get the car on the track in on lap 18. I'm afraid to report the same thing happens again. Not quite. It was reported as driving slowly. That was getting out of the way. My apologies to Raymer. But here was an incident I heard some controversy about on the chat. This is Lewis Benny. I heard something that you shouldn't say in iRacing. I'll just leave it at that. A spin? Well, that wasn't it. The reverse. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, what's about to happen? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't do it. Does toe to pit, so... No, he just did it to him. He just decided, fine, okay. I thought we were going to blow up. I thought we were going to get exploding cars. Ellie Douglas. That wasn't instant. I know which one it was. It's a hard car on a hard track. I gotta be real. It's tough around here. It's like I'm watching myself. All these things are things that I do. So I'm not making fun of anyone. Cody Petter, this would lead to another toe. I'm curious if something happens. That's a self-retirement. Kurt Raymer, lap 23, last one, may have been the one. I heard someone say something insulting, okay? None of those. Oh, where are you going? Well, none of those would have fit. That's disappointing. That's disappointing to me. Doesn't sound like we're going to get much of the drivers to speak. I've given them their opportunity. So, don't... I even put a message in the Discord, so don't say I put you down. It was... I'd say that was a pretty clinical race. One that probably won't lead to too much controversy after the fact. It helps. And I'm very much looking forward to Zandvoort. I think we'll get a little bit more of the same. A bit of a driving masterclass around the track this week. Will we get the same next week? I'll get you championship standings then, and we'll see quite how close this has gotten up to then. Until then, I've been Howie Burrows, and thank you for watching.